Hurricane Center, we've got the director, Bill Reed, who joins us live. Good morning to you, Bill.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. A beautiful day here in New York City and across much of the country. Of course, we're talking to you as we do every year. Today is the first official day of the hurricane season. And why is it, Bill, you guys are forecasting this is going to be a very busy hurricane season?
That's correct. The seasonal forecast that NOAA issued last week really caught a lot of people's attention, especially we give a range and almost everybody fixated on the 23, 15, and 7 for the number of storms, number of hurricanes, number of major hurricanes. And last year we had an El Nino, which played a large role in shutting down the activity that would form in the Caribbean and Western Atlantic. El Nino is dying. We're going into, most models now indicate we're going to be into a full La Nina during the peak of the season. That coupled with much warmer than normal water temperatures and heat content in the Atlantic and Caribbean are why the forecast comes out high.
Okay, so you've got a forecast for a number of named storms and a pretty sizable number of hurricanes. Should people be worried, Bill, about hurricanes on par with Katrina?
I would do that every year. If you don't, you face the option of 1992.
Sure.
What if I guaranteed you only 7 storms and I guaranteed you only 1 would make landfall, but I can't tell you where? You wouldn't prepare less, or if you did, you'd be a big mistake in South Florida. That's when Andrew hit.
Okay. Now, of course, a lot of the hurricanes wind up skirting the southern tip of Florida and going out in the Gulf. And I know you know, because I was on your website earlier today, that a lot of people are worried about the Gulf oil spill and the rig explosion out there, and there are millions of gallons floating around in the water somewhere. What impact would a particularly strong hurricane have if it goes right over or to the east or the west of where the oil is, Bill?
Well, depends on where the oil is at the time it goes, but a worst case scenario, the concentration of the oil storm is in a place, and the storm moves into the west of there. That would force the storm surge over much more land and take storm surge. All the material that normally is in a storm surge is toxic enough, but now you're adding the known aspect of the oil. But I want to remind people of yet another problem that you're going to have in the Gulf of Mexico this year. Even if the storm isn't heading towards Louisiana or Mississippi, take like Hurricane Ike in 2008, and it's moving on an east to west course well south of the area. People aren't going to have to evacuate for a very high surge or very high winds, but you're still going to elevate the ocean some 3 to 4 feet on a big storm like that. That's going to take oil inland also.
Okay, and Bill, I was reading on your website that some people have questions whether or not, if there's oil dispersed on the surface, could it possibly impact the severity or the intensity of a storm or even affect the track?
I don't see any reason for it to affect the track. The storm is steered by a deep layer wind, but the questions on the intensity are a matter of scale. In theory, cover enough of the ocean with some type of a material that doesn't allow the water to evaporate, you could have an impact. But the size of the area with the heavy concentration of the oil is much, much smaller than the size of an area of a developing cyclone.
All right. Bill Reed, the director of the National Hurricane Center. Sir, we thank you very much for joining us live today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Meanwhile,